let's help you out. So what can we do for you? You were thinking of changing from an Adele to a
Yeah,
hero, or you know that you will?
well, I know that I will change, and hero is like the one I would like to.
Mm-hmm. And how do you know? Like, have you seen videos, or you know other people who played it, or what makes you feel that even though you're pretty new with the hero, that you already know that that's the one you're gonna play over Adele?
Well, yeah, I watched videos and yeah, and I played a bit and seems like fun. So
Mm-hmm. So does this mean that you're like full committing, or you're like still just slowly working your way up and then seeing what you're doing? Because there's different ways of approaching a new character when you already have a stronger character, right? You can divert like all your resources and go super ham, or you just you speed it up slightly, to make sure that it's not the same arduous process as it is the first time, but you still keep the door open that the Adele might be something you fall back on in case you maybe don't like the hero as much as you thought once you hit 5th job, or once you hit a little bit of a wall. Like, training is definitely going to be a bit harder on the hero than on the Adele.
yeah, sure. I think it can be like a safety net.
Mm-hmm. Because
But we'll see after I hit like 5th job and if I like it or not.
exactly, yeah. So what about the Adele made you want to look around, or did you just make the hero because of for Legion and you thought, oh, this is actually way more fun?
I just think that Adele is kind of boring now, so that's why.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything specifically, like any situation, just mobbing and bossing, you're just not really challenged, or?
Well, I don't know. Like, mobbing isn't a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Some bosses are, but overall the character is just like feels boring to me.
Okay. Just the mechanics and how the character plays, the kit.
Yeah, and the visuals as well.
And visuals as well. And so, but you still okay with like keeping the character as like a bossing mule so you can still generate income for your account?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. So do you want to go over like where the Adele is now and how we can maybe switch some stuff around for the Adele to make it stronger so it can just stay where it is and then you can fully invest in the hero?
Yeah, that would be, I guess, the best action.
Okay. Before this, like, do you have some questions written down what you wanted to ask specifically, or should we just go like topic per topic and then just see what comes up?
Yeah, let's go topic to topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then if you have any questions, just make sure you let me know. So I guess, yeah, do you have anything that you want to start with, or like usually I ask people how familiar they are with the commands that I have in my channel, because I have a lot of those.
Yeah, I've used somewhat, but I don't know like all of them. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there's too many. I wouldn't expect you to know all of them.
Do you have like a list or something where you can see all of them?
Yeah, it's under !list commands, or info or commands or anything that links to the same thing. That has all of them, and they're color coded to see like what they're about. So some of them are just memes and jokes, the orange ones. So you know if you're actually looking for real information, you can skip those. And the red ones are just like social media and like new videos and stuff like that. So those aren't very important either. So you're mainly looking for the green and the yellow ones if you're looking for MapleStory info, and then the blue one is for stream info.
Okay.
So some of them have the direct link here, and I do my best to keep this updated here. And some of them you can just click directly here, but then some of them you have to use in the chat because it's like a text reply, right? So I'm not going to put the whole text reply here because then this whole this whole thing will look very bad. But so have you seen some of them already, or you just like seen them in videos but haven't looked at them so far?
Well, both. Yeah, I have like the links one I have used.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly.
Okay. Do you have any? Because I guess the first thing here is the Legion and the link skills. Do you have any questions specifically about that?
Maybe regarding the hero links, like what are best for late game and such.
Mm-hmm. So the general order that I would always advise to take link skills is very similar to also like what do you want to build in your Legion board? What do you take in hyper stats? I think it's always kind of the same priority list, right? So you want to make sure that you have enough crit rate so that you hit 100% crit, because that way all of your critical damage can apply. I think that's always a high priority. And then you can want to get as much critical damage as possible, because that increases your damage both to mobbing and to bossing. And then usually the third one in the list is IED, because then that's basically when you get to bossing, and you want to have as much IED as you need to hit the threshold, right? And then for the threshold, I usually divert to the progression grid, where you can see all the numbers and what I think is a good balance of what to aim for in your account. Have you seen the progression one before?
Yeah, in videos, but not real life.
No, real life, yeah.
Myself.
Well, I'll open it up here. So mainly because there's a lot of the main reason I made this is because in the past people used to look at damage range. I don't know if you used to play a long time ago, but
yeah,
people,
like 70 years ago.
Yeah, people always ask like, what's your range, right?
Yeah.
And that used to be the one number that we could kind of compare. But you probably, well, if you're playing hero more, you'll notice that as well. Like if your hero is clean range versus when it's buffed, I think your range goes like 8 times as high or something, because of all the final damage you have. So like the word range doesn't mean anything anymore. Being buffed, being unbuffed, being a different class, someone with lower range can do way more damage than you if their boost nodes are way better, right? You've probably touched on boost nodes at least a little bit with the Adele. There's very big differences between people with some numbers the same, but they can still do vastly different damage, right? And easy example is someone who is way stronger than you, but has worse IED, can end up doing way less damage on a boss because the damage of the boss holds, like blocks all their damage, right? So kind of to balance out where I think it's worth to spend your money and to spend your time, I made the game stages grid so that you can basically use these metrics and use these numbers to get an idea of whether or not you are on the right track, or whether you're, you know, if something is very far developed, if it's efficient to spend more time there versus on something else instead. And also so you know like which numbers are just important to look at. So do these, if you look at this grid, does that kind of make sense? Like, so like the IED is what I specifically mentioned here. So this would be the functional IED. Are you aware of IED, on how that's calculated and what functional IED means?
Oh yeah, you look at the skills as well, right?
Yeah. So functional is like, what is 100% uptime going to apply when you hit versus what does the stat window show you, just the visual. Because for some classes it can be very different. I think for a hero, I think it's pretty similar. I mean, I think it's mainly just the boost notes and the... Because you have a big debuff, but that's your passive, right? In the 4th job, you have the, what is it, 40% or 50%?
Oh yeah, there is. Let me check.
I think it's, isn't it 50? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's 50. It's a passive skill.
Yeah, and then with decent combat orders, it goes even more up later. Because you definitely want to get decent combat orders, I guess, just to get that information out of the way. Decent combat orders is probably the best on hero out of all the classes. Because it improves your passive skills in your 4th, right? But you have that one that gives you final damage per orb, and you will get a final damage extra for every orb. So it multiplies like crazy because it's multiplicative, so it gives you a lot of damage, more damage gain than any other class in the game.
Okay, hero all beat.
Yeah, so that's going to be very important. Yeah, just to get your base damage up a lot. So, I mean, I guess since we were still on the topic of Legion and Lynx, one of the things, so especially if you're playing on the Adele and you're thinking of switching to the hero, and maybe, you know, maybe the hero isn't the one, but if hero isn't the one, you're not going to go back to Adele, because I think if you think Adele is so boring, you're probably just going to try another character, right?
Yeah.
The value of leveling up your Legion when you are still finding your main is, I think, pretty high, because this is the way that you can fund all of your characters at once. Because we don't have trade, right? So some people will make like training gear, you know, you can just upgrade strength gear and then just transfer it around and all the characters can wear it, and that's how you can fund your characters. Since we don't have trade or transferring of equips, the way to do it for us is by leveling up your Legion and your Lynx. That's actually how you fund your whole account. And I think that's a healthy way of looking at it.
Yeah, that seems... Yeah.
So what would you say, like, in I guess to take a step back, with like your playing, like how much you play and how long you play, what would you say your profile is in that? Like, you play every...
Well, it depends. Like sometimes I play a lot, like 8 hours a day, and sometimes it's like a small amount. It depends on like if I play with friends, some other games, if I have work and stuff.
Right. So do you generally play at least a little bit every day?
Yeah, I try to do all the dailies and stuff.
And then whether you play like half an hour or you play like 6 or 7 hours depends on if your friends wanna play League or whatever, or another game. Yeah, I see. Yeah, because well, you know now, by the way, I guess because of how far the Adele is, that the dailies for symbols especially are very important, right?
Yeah, I try to do the symbol dailies, Ursus and the MapleStory.
Yeah. And how are you with totems? Do you use a lot of those, or is that also just a little bit random?
I used to, like a year ago when I played on Adele, I used to like all the time use all the totems, but right now I haven't used them.
You're more busy with work and other stuff.
Yeah, and it's like 2 hours that I want to use if I use a totem, so that's why.
Yeah, you could do shorter, of course, but those feels like a bit of a waste.
Yeah.
But you know,
it does.
Yeah, but what I usually tell people though is like, even though it may feel like a waste, it's even more of a waste if you don't use reward points at all or don't use a totem at all, right, in the month.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you at least get some value out of it, then that's better than none at all, I would say.
Yeah, usually if I have like a lot of totems and they're running out, then I will use them.
Yeah.
Whatever, if it's only an hour or half an hour.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. And do you usually do like a little bit of Legion every day as well, or is it just whenever you feel like it, or whenever there are special events?
Yeah, I try to, at least, but I don't know, like I could do more, I think.
Yeah, because Legion, I think, is one of those things that's important to do a little bit, almost kind of see as a daily, where it's just slow and steady gains is pretty important. Because you don't ever want to, at least I don't, maybe you're different, but I don't think I ever want to do like a whole day nothing but Legion for like weeks or something. Like, I don't want to do that. So to prevent that from needing to happen in the future, usually what I do is I just do a little bit of Legion every day. And an easy way to look at it is, the main thing in the beginning to make a lot of gains is to just make one new character per day and just get it to level 60 and then move on to the next one. And then if you find one you like more and you have more time, then you can level it a bit more. And if you don't, then that's fine too. And if you want to skip a day sometimes, that's also fine. If you can't play, that's okay. But if the baseline is I'm going to try to make one character every day, then within a month, roughly, you can just have the 25 extra level 60s, which is 1500 Legion level, and then you'll be at 4K.
Yeah.
Because the power in numbers is very big in this game. And... because even if they're just level 60, right, and then level 70, you have all the link skills available, and then suddenly, then it can start snowballing, because 4K is, typically 3K is like where you get the big bump, because then you get to put 5 extra characters in your Legion board, and then the Legion size gets significantly more as well. I think your 2.5 is another upgrade, right? Yeah, and then 8, and then 3, and then 3.5 is, well, 3K is the big upgrade, with 5 extra characters in there.
Yep.
So it's usually pretty good. But then yeah, the further the Legion goes, the more you start filling like the outside of the board, right? And the less you start you move pieces away from strength and attack and more into crit rate and crit damage instead. Especially for the new characters, the lower level characters will be way stronger because of that. Because the main thing they get damage from is their critical damage, and if you can get enough crit rate in the link skills and in the board, and they can start hitting crits immediately, they'll train way faster. So then every new character...
I think on Marksman, I got like 100% crit for the first time ever. It felt great.
Yeah, and then it's quite strong, right? You don't even need to boost all the EXP as much, because you get all the EXP because you kill so fast, and then that's the main thing.
Even though the class was pretty bad, I think, at least to level, but when you get like 100% crit, then it's like pretty nice.
Exactly, and that's the future that you can have for every other character you make. So even if it is still a little bit annoying now or a little bit slow now, it'll only get faster, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's also a very good foundation to have while you're still finding a new character, because if it doesn't happen to be hero, but you try another character, then that character will be even stronger when you start it, because you have the foundation of the Legion. But you know the general order, right, to do the characters in and stuff?
Yeah, I looked at the grid.
Yep. And did you already start a Tera burn for this event?
No, I'm actually thinking about what I should Tera burn.
So for this one and the next one, you don't really have any ideas?
Not really, no.
Well, I would say, what is the likelihood that you think you're going to main the hero right now? Like, how much do you enjoy it from 1 to 10?
Right now it's like a 10, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll see when I hit 5th job and how the leveling is there.
Yeah. Because the value you get out of a Tera burn, especially for an account like in your situation, I think would almost be wasted if you're not trying to really play the character and get pretty far with it, because of all the free stuff you get.
I really should have started this hero like today or something. I just noticed when I looked at the events.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not too late to do that now. You can just still restart it, right?
Yeah, but that feels like a waste then.
Well, sure, it will for like 3 days, and then it won't.
Yeah.
Because you will surpass it, and it'll get so much stuff. Unless, you're, trying to have the whole experience of the character coming up from, going from nothing to building the whole thing up, and you want that other experience, right? Then
yeah, I think
there's value in that for sure.
Maining this, it's like important to me to have like a little bit more of an experience.
You're trying to have the whole experience of coming from rags to riches, as they say.
Yeah, and I quite liked it, like doing all the pre-quest and stuff.
So you're okay with seeing the Tera burn more as like a fast boost to 210, and then that's it?
Yeah.
Because you're not looking for extra characters to play right now, not yet at least. Well, I would say if there is were there any other characters that you considered together with hero, like maybe that one?
Yeah, I like the Dawn Warrior, but I heard it's like a ping reliant, so...
Yeah, you're playing on NA, right?
Yeah, from EU ping, so...
Yeah, I think for mobbing it's fine, but for bossing, yeah, it is definitely ping reliant, yeah. The other thing is also that if you do end up with a Dawn Warrior and you end up leveling it with Tera burn, it will end up, I think, being a pretty easy... I haven't gotten to it yet, but from the kit and from everything I've seen, a pretty strong... could be a bossing mule as well that would generate income for your account if you want to. So that doesn't seem like a bad pick. Plus you get strength in the Legion board. When you look at the list, I guess, of the links, which one would be next?
I think Mechanic is next for me. And Zero as well. But I already created the Zero. So.
Oh, okay. So you have
I haven't
lower level.
played it yet.
And you have you have the Mercedes. Do you have a Evan? Oh yeah, there. Yeah, Evan 1530. Yeah, and the Aaron. And you've got the Kana Pathfinder, Marksman, DA. Yeah, I pretty much went to the top. Okay. You tried the Night Lord and the Night Walker. Did you like those?
Yeah, I think I liked Night Lord more.
A little squishy early, right?
Well, I didn't notice that.
Okay, good.
Or I didn't die, so... Yet.
Not super squishy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mechanic is good value, I would say. For Tera burn though, many people want to just get Mechanic done and over with ASAP. I think Mechanic is also a character that's okay to just get to like 140 or up to 150 with like a mega burn, and then that's probably also good enough for a while. I don't know if 200 is that necessary. Buff duration is nice though, of course, but definitely more important with some classes than with others.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you have all that value past 200 and you're really just dumping the character at 200, I would look more for characters that you would eventually maybe want to get a level 3 link skill on as candidates for Tera burning.
Yeah. So what are like those characters then?
Well, I've got a list. So generally, like the Mercedes Evan and Aaron are like really good, but you already have them at 140, right? So your account can gain way more levels from like a. Well, again, the other way, like you don't really have to see it as a waste if you remake a character at this point, because you still have fewer than 40 characters that count for your Legion, right? So the levels for both of them will still count, so that's still value. But I mean, it almost seems like. Partisan at this point, but I like the Arc Link a lot, right? The Arc level 3 Link is really, really good. It's a pretty strong character. Yeah, because the Shade, the Hayato, and the Jet are really good, but again, those you just want to get up to 200 is fine. And then the value from past 200 would kind of get lost.
Well, Shade is actually something I looked into as well.
Mm-hmm. Something one that you might like, yeah. Then that could be a good compromise between the two. Then,
yeah. And then maybe Arc as the second Tera burn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're both still in like the top 20 in the list, and you have most of the other ones.
Yeah.
So there's not much competition there. I would say leveling the 0 up for the EXP is very valuable though. So if you do have some time for that.
Yeah, that's on the list next, actually.
Okay. Good. At least we're not completely off with the priority stuff, so that's always good feedback to see.
Yeah, but I feel like if I start playing 0, I want to like play a little bit more of it because of the story missions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I didn't start it right off.
Oh, okay. You want to commit a bit more to a character rather than just hop in, get some levels, and get out.
I mean, some characters are fine just to level fast, but
yeah,
I think 0 is kind of different.
Yeah, it's definitely set up different with the areas and with the dungeons and everything. It's not set up as a login and just go and start grinding. You really have to go through the story for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people do, they finish up to chapter 2 and then they leave and then they grind and then they just come back at the end to finish the storyline. That's also an option if you end up like not liking it as much. But if you do like it, some people go through the whole storyline, that's fine too. That works. It's good EXP.
Faster than to go outside and come back there.
Yeah, faster. It probably depends on your access to like coupons and stuff, right? And access and how big your Legion is and all that. And if there's any events going on, maybe with coupons and with things like that. But I think faster or slower, I think that mainly comes down to what you enjoy more, right? Because if it's fun, it feels like it goes by faster. And if it's not fun, it feels like it takes forever. It's very, time is very subjective in that sense. Yeah. I guess since we're on the topic of like events and stuff, have you looked at the current events that are going on? Is there anything you specifically are aiming for?
Not really. I probably want to get all the nodes and symbols. Then there is like a fairy heart, right?
Yep.
So those at least.
And is your focus in that 100% on the hero? Just to clarify?
Yeah, for now at least.
Yeah, for now, yeah.
I mean, if I like Shade or something that I Tera burn or play, then
exactly
I might switch.
Yep.
For now it's hero.
Yeah, it might be unfair to the hero because if the other character gets Tera burned, right? Because you immediately like CRA gear and the big ring and a lot of nodes, so it'll be really flashy quickly for the other characters because you'll get such a big jump start. So make sure that when you're like comparing the two, that you take that into account. Otherwise, hero is gonna be a little bit have an unfair comparison. Yeah, just making sure, because you are going the traditional route, like building up your whole character by itself. I mean, you have your meso shared, but other than that, it's pretty much making its own way, right?
Yeah.
As a real knight would, not taking any handouts, fighting his way to the top.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, the importance of Legion links, and then I guess with the links, yeah, you were talking about like which links for the hero, right? So that's the general order. They start with very low crit rate. You probably noticed that.
Yeah.
Adele's crit rate isn't great either, but heroes is even lower if I remember correctly. So
yeah, it seems so.
Yeah, so a lot of it is going to go into crit rate. Getting decent sharp eyes, hyper stats for crit rate, like all of those are going to be pretty necessary, and probably even Legion grid in the beginning to try to get to 100%. But then again, yeah, once you get into the critical damage for the Legion board, and then for the link skill like the Kinesis, they'll be pretty nice. And then yeah, the flat damage and the EXP will come in then first for the mobbing. And then, so IED wise, you should be decently fine because of the big clump that you have in 4th job. So early on, you can probably kind of go past the IED and go more towards the boss damage specifically. If you want to get more, so like with the Demon Slayer and stuff. And like a Beast Tamer link would be really nice if you can get your hand on one of those.
Yeah, I have it also created, but I didn't play it either.
Yeah, it's I mean, getting the crit is probably going to be necessary from all the sources in the beginning, and then if you do end up leveling and you get more hyper stats and your Legion grows, and then you get crit from there, then you basically move out of the either you move out of the Archer link or you move out of the Beast Tamer link for mobbing, and then you just bring it back for bossing, something like that. But yeah, it's like it's very similar in which link skills you build compared to the Adele, right? Because they're both warriors. They both have decent IED, but not like insane max, but like decent IED. So that's not as high a priority. And they both want crit damage, and they're both kind of low in crit rate. So it's very similar build for the link skills between Adele and Hero. And I think even for invulnerability, they're also trying to go for like similar things where you want to go at the well, for the crit rate part at least, and then for the top line they want different things depending on what weapon you're going for. And I guess that's for Hero, that's a thing, right? Have you kind of decided what weapon you're going for?
Not really, no.
Do you have any preference, or do you have any questions on what
well,
would be
best? the best one.
Yeah,
no other preference.
So best is a little bit situational, but like the flat amount, like brute highest number would be two-handed axe.
Yeah.
What you have?
You had like a command for it.
Yeah, exactly. Some people still like the two-handed sword better. It's not like enough weaker to say like, oh no, you should like picking it as horrible or anything. Like it's so close that you barely notice the difference. And if you do ever switch to Paladin, then you can keep the same weapon, so there is that value there. Some people just like the animation more, they like the look of the weapon more, and then most of those people cover their item with NX anyway, so it's like whatever. So yeah, but two-handed axe is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Does that clear up Links and Legion for you, or do you have any additional questions there?
No, I think it's pretty clear.
Yep. And what's a Tera burn and everything? We went over that. Yeah. Yep. So I guess specifically for the Adele, did you have any questions about the V Matrix? Looks like you're mainly triple boosting the same, like the more important skills, just to get that damage up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not that familiar with V Matrix. But I know some things. Okay.
So what are the things that you're well, I guess you don't know what you don't know. What are you aiming for when you're trying to level up in a matrix? Like, what is your general goal?
The nodes, or the boost nodes first. I think.
Yep. And are you aiming for a specific number, or you're just trying to level them up as far as possible?
Whenever I get like nodes that I can use to level it up, then I will use them.
Yeah, so you just have 3 skills triple boosted here, right?
Yeah.
Because I think they're both hunting decrees on the right one and on the bottom one. I think sometimes.
I have to go on the Adele and check.
Oh yeah. Well, because the main thing is in the beginning, triple boosting, if you don't need the other skills as much with Adele, is pretty true. You can definitely do this. The one downside, just to caution for like the longer term, is that you don't want to over level your quote-unquote third node too much, because eventually you'll have to disassemble it. And then when you disassemble boost nodes, you lose efficiency on the shards that you get back, right? Compared to if you have it assembled all of the nodes individually. So once you get into the higher levels, and you're getting, once they're like all level like 8, 9, then you're basically looking at like level 40 plus, right? So at that point, usually start looking more into making the combinations of nodes, like the late game ones, and then start specifically leveling up those, and then disassemble the extra you have, because by then you'll have more room as well, so you don't need to be as frugal, I guess, with the spots, or as stingy with the spots. The other thing is for Adele, what I would say is that I don't think the legacy restoration is that important early on. So there is the possibility of putting another boost node in there, or maybe Holy Symbol, like if you would train or something. But I guess if you're bossing, Holy Symbol, maybe you switch into.
I think I use Legacy for the Storm skill.
Yeah,
so
the combination.
More damage.
Yeah, that's definitely nice. The other thing you could use would be the Goddess Blessing, even at just level 2. If you pop that before like a Rune and an Infinity Blade and a Bind and Burst combo, that'll increase the damage of all your skills combined quite a bit as well. That would also be a really strong skill to use. But yeah, other than that, I mean, Hyper Body, at this point, you can always disassemble. And if you think the character is boring and you're not really going to play it more anyway, then you're never going to use that. You're probably never going to use Urda's Will either, but I think it's fine to keep one, just in case. And yeah, probably Decent Advance Blessing is probably never going to make it in either, but you're probably not going to open many more nodes on this, right? All the nodes now are going to be saved up for the hero.
Yeah, or whatever I made, probably the heroes.
So if you're looking for the hero or for any other character that you play after that, I have the V Matrix command, where I have the list of all of the trios that you would want to get for your boost node for all the other classes. And then some have multiple options, and some have some information on the side.
So what would hero need?
So hero mainly just needs 3 skills, so like one trio of 2 skills. But more and more people are going for 2 trios because you have so many slots, and you have quite some other skills that can be useful as well. So some people go for the second as well. But the main thing you're looking for is Raging Blow, Rising Rage, and Final Attack. So Raging Blow is the big, the hyper skill, right? That goes very vertical. And then Raging Blow is your regular attack. Rising Rage is the one that goes vertical. And then Final Attack, because you'll be pretty close range, so the final attacks will always hit. And that's basically how, for both mobbing and bossing, you kind of have like a combo boost node that's really good. And then basically the further you go and the more room you have, and you're like, okay, I can put literally anything in here. Sometimes people go for 2... for a second trio with Rush, Shout, and Puncture, because Puncture actually has a decent hitbox and can actually be used in some maps to train as well if you want. It goes pretty high vertically, so that's actually pretty cool. Shout because every other skill would be a waste basically, and then Rush because it has the Rush skill and the up jump thing does damage as well now, and the down slash, so that gets double boosted as well. But obviously that's way lower priority. It's mainly just those first 2 boost nodes. So you could do a similar thing that you did with the Adele now, if you want to brute force this a little bit in the beginning, is maybe go for 3 boost nodes, and then kind of redo them later. And of course, you don't necessarily have to disassemble. I guess I forgot to mention that with this one. Like, you don't necessarily have to disassemble the third one, right? You could also find the combination by switching them all over, because you can use high-level boost nodes to boost another level 1 boost node, and then if you do that, all the experience does get transferred. Yeah, okay. So that's always.
When you say like a trio, do you mean like 1 node with 3 skills, or is it like 3 nodes?
Oh yeah, when you say like a trio or a tri-node, basically what we mean is a boost node that has 3 skills on it that are all skills that you need.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
that was kind of confusing at the start. So
yeah.
That's probably why Adele has these nodes as well.
I see. That's why it's three trios. Yeah. Yeah, when someone says like I got a tri node, what they mean is I got a boost node where all the skills on them are skills that I want to boost. That's what they mean, yeah. And then when they say they have a perfect tri node, typically that means that they already had a few and they needed like one specific to make the set. And of course, if you have everything except for one, it's really hard to get that last one because there's only two possibilities, right? Like the top skill has to be exact one, and the bottom ones can be switched, but there's only two options out of all the possibilities. So when you find like the perfect one, that's usually they mean like, okay, now I'm ready. Now I can start leveling and extract everything else, and then can really commit to start leveling them up because everything else can go, and you can start crafting with the shards.
But for the end game, do you then need like 3 nodes that have the same skills?
So for the ultimate level that you can boost a boost node to, or that you can boost a skill to, is 60 levels, and 10 of that comes from the grid, right, from the leveled up slots, the enhanced slots, and then 25 or 50 in total comes from 2 level 25 nodes, because all the nodes can only go up to level 25. So if you have one skill on 2 nodes and they're both 25 and they're in level 5 slot, then it goes up to 60 and then you're maxed out. So that's why you end up having the skills.
So you need like two nodes, right?
Yeah, so yeah, when you say like one trio, that basically means you have to get 2 boost nodes that have those 3 skills in them in any 2 different configurations, because you can't equip 2 boost nodes with the same starting skill. So.
And probably for Adele, it's best to have one with cleave at the top. Or does it matter at all?
So it doesn't actually matter which one the top which one the top is matters if you want to level it up, right? Because the other nodes, the other boost nodes you want to use to level it up with have to have the same top skill. But whether cleave ends up being like the second boost skill on one and the third one on another doesn't matter for the damage in the end.
Oh, okay.
However you find your trios, and then once you have them, you just you level them up. Levels is the same whether it's the top or the bottom skill, doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. And now it's a lot clearer.
Yeah. It's a lot of the system came out when I was already playing, and then you kind of like learn it as you go, and then it all makes perfect sense. But to a new person to be like, oh my god, there's how is this like? Yeah, it's not really, none of it is like logical. You just have to kind of know. And the system has changed a lot over the past 5 years as well. They've adjusted a lot of things. They have locks now, so you can lock your nodes and then extract all the other ones, so you don't accidentally lock your leveled up nodes and stuff, because that's definitely happened to a lot of people. So I guess we can see if we can look over the Adele a little bit and then see what we can do in like short term, and also maybe a little bit of advice based on what the Adele did on how maybe to do it a little bit differently, or what you can definitely copy as like a strategy to do for the hero, to fund the hero.
Yeah,
that'd probably be a good idea. So what things did you do on the Adele where you're thinking like, I'm definitely not going to do that on the hero, or I definitely am going to do the same thing on the hero?
Well, I booked my Fafnir weapon. That's one thing I don't want to do. I don't know, other than that, like maybe something.
Oh, you boomed it on the Adele while you were leveling it? Yeah, okay, that's you don't want to repeat that one,
Yeah, and I don't know, something like probably to be more efficient with stuff.
So if I just look through the stuff in general, right, when I'm thinking about like efficiency with stuff, I see the like the CRA stuff is already legendary at 15 stars. Yeah. So for CRA specifically, it's very hard to get good lines of potential on legendary, and CRA is actually really fine to just keep epic or maybe unique, just like 6 or 9%. Even until it's like 17 stars, honestly. When it comes to like efficiency and spending your money. For CRA specifically, Star Force is a way higher priority because it's easier to start getting backups, right? Once you start clearing CRA, which is pretty early these days, with especially with strong characters like Adele and Hero. And then you can just build backups and mainly prioritize on that. But definitely, I think, I don't know when exactly you did it, but like the priorities of functioning or of upgrading on the emblem, the secondary, and the weapon, that's of course very important. But I guess you only got the Absol weapon recently.
No, actually, well, I played this character like a year ago or something, so and then I had like a huge break where I didn't play at all.
Well, yeah, and when you came back, you didn't know if you want to commit to the character, so then you didn't upgrade your weapon, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think I was planning on like transferring the Fafnir over to save something from it, but it boomed, and now I'm with this.
Yeah, now you have a 0-star.
Yeah.
At least it has a nice flame. That's a lot of attack, so that helps.
Yeah.
So yeah. So do you still want to play this character to just do like bosses with and stuff? Is that fine, or do you just not want anything to do with it anymore?
Yeah, I will probably do like bosses that I can do. I think bossing is fun for me as well. So.
Do you remember with your link skills on the Adele? Do you remember? Did you get to 100% crit rate?
No, I didn't. Those most of the links I did like in 2 weeks now.
Oh, okay.
Quite new.
So you need 34. That is doable though, right? 15, 25. You'd have to get a beast tamer. Well, the main thing would be to definitely jumble up the hyper stats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause
how much can you get from hyper stats?
Well, a lot, and the same thing kind of with your Legion grid, but you have to be way more meticulous with your hyper stats in the sense that, because there's an increasing cost per level, right?
Yeah.
And with Legion, the increasing cost comes from building out your Legion itself and getting to the outside. That's kind of where the cost is. But once you've unlocked it, then all of the grids are equal cost. The main thing is with hyperstats is if you ever go up to 15, you typically don't ever see anything past level 11 or something until you're level 245, just because of the opportunity cost of going for levels that high. It just basically every one level past 11 or something, you're basically giving away like 6 levels of something else. And then therefore comparatively that's very inefficient. So the main thing,
think on Adele I did like IED just to do bosses or something and max it out.
Yeah, exactly. No, I do get that, but the thing is, the IED will help get your damage through, but then you won't have as much damage to go through with. And Adele does have extra IED in the kit, like you have Grave Proclamation and you have your Resonance Rush stacks. And then of course once the boost nodes come in, and I think you have one of your passive hypers can give you IED as well, right? If you have that one leveled up. You have like I think you have the 3 hypers, like one for IED, one for damage, and then one for boss damage.
Oh yeah, I have all 3 of those.
So that does mean that your functional IED is actually probably quite decent. Have you worked? So I think if you go down with your IED to like probably even 9 or something, I think you'll probably be fine. And it'll probably be, again, just like with the hero, probably a good idea to, if you put your link skills on, or if you just look at the numbers, well, you can trade your link skills 10 times now, so you can probably just put them on and then switch them back, right? Just to see, like, to get your crit rate to 100, how much do you need to put in crit rate in your hyper stats, and then put that much in. I can't imagine that it's much more than like level, well, you don't have the Beast Tamer leveled up yet, right? So it might be level 8 or something. What is level 8 is 11%? So that's 9 more, 75. Gets you to 90, and then you'll be at what, 96? Might have to go to 10 then.
I'm at 88% with
oh no, you have decent
sharp eyes.
You have decent sharp eyes, yeah. And that's and which link skills did you put in?
The Phantom and Bowman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you need and that's with how much in crit rate now in your hyper stats? That's with 0?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So you need level 9 then. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you say you were 1% off with level 8. Oh, almost got it. And the other thing for IED, for both this character and the other one, just to ease that out a bit more, are you familiar with Familiars? I hate when I start the sentence that way, but do you know about how that kind of works, that system?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, but I haven't gone too deep into Familiars.
They're basically very good early on to get that extra IED you need to be able to boss without having to go super hard on getting crazy, 30% IED lines on all your WSE, or needing to get all the level 3 links, or needing to fill out your board completely. They're a very good early source of IED. Even the common ones have a decent chance of getting it. And mainly, my advice is just if you're working on Legion and you get some cards here and there, just transfer them all to a character that still needs ID Familiars and just reveal them there until you get it. Then move on to the other one.
I've been transferring them to the hero now.
Yeah,
so I don't know if he needs them then.
I think they need them about as much, because Adele has some... The hero's ID will look higher, but then Adele's functionally is probably about the same because of the extra buffs that go later on. So I think they're probably more in the same spot, but I think the Adele would want to do weekly bosses faster, and the hero probably can ease into it a bit more.
Yeah.
So I would probably prioritize them on the Adele, so you can actually do the weekly bosses on the Adele more easily, and then use that income to fund the hero faster, so he can get to the point faster where he can start using them as well. Something like that. That's probably what I would do. And then leftover points, and basically the leftover points are just divide over critical damage, and boss damage evenly. I imagine you can get them all to 7, and maybe 1 or 2 to 8. So it's like...
Yeah, we have presets now as well. Have to make.
Yeah, that can make it easier as well. If you want to switch between mobbing and bossing, right? For the hero, that'll come into play more quickly as well. Plus the skill to deal damage to normal monsters. I've heard from a lot of people that helps them a lot on Legion mules. So that's really cool. That'll probably help with leveling Legion mules a lot faster if you want to get from 140 to 200 later, if you're planning, right, to get up to 200. So that's pretty useful. Other than that, for the Adele, we could kind of look at the gear. I mean, if you want to settle the Adele into its current place with not too much funding, but still get decently strong, definitely redoing the hyperstats and switching the link skills over whenever you want to do some weekly bosses and just practicing on the boss. The other thing would be to throw at least a little bit of money onto the weapon, because it's a little bit looks a little bit naked like this. But we do have a Star Force event coming, right? Yeah, I don't know if you have to push it to 17 or something, unless you want to go to the level where you can do Lotus and Damien. The main thing I would do is just focus on getting don't even know, have you tried CRA with the character at this stage?
Yeah, I can do 1-1 pretty easily. Well, it takes time, but it's easy.
It's easy, yeah. And then the other
clown is kind of, I don't know. My skills keep hitting, but I have the wrong hat and it heals.
And that's...
But other than that...
before the split or after the split?
After.
And you know the technique to try to kill it before the split?
Yeah, I tried it, but I think I lacked a little bit of damage.
Was it close or no?
Yeah, it was very close. Probably with the link skills I can do it for 100% crit rate.
Yeah. Well, the crit is huge. Yeah, I tried on my DA one time. I was I could just do my weeklies real quick. I don't have to switch my link skills over, and oh god, was it awful. Because I think that character has 52% crit rate or something without all the links and stuff on, and it was horrible. Yeah, the damage is just garbage without it. So that can make a huge difference. Yeah, and the other thing to make it a little bit easier, of course, would be to get at least some potential, maybe some percentage attack on the weapon. Even if it's just epic and a 6% attack will already make quite a big difference. And then Star Forcing, even up to 12 Star Force or something, which isn't even all that much. Because in the beginning you get percentage of your base attack as the weapon attack, right, up to 15. So that is still a lot of free weapon attack comparatively to all the other stuff. Because I think with how good everything else is, shouldn't need much of investment at all.
I also have a Sweetwater Bladecaster, which is 11 stars and unique potential, plus 10% attack. But,
I see. Yeah, right now
it's less damage, at least, according to the game.
Well, you have how much? Well, yeah, it's mainly because of the flame, I think, right? The flame overtakes it, right? Yeah. And you get the 2 set bonus at least with Absolab because of the glove. Yeah. So did you get the Absolab stuff through guild or?
Yeah, I had a guild like a year ago. They carried me.
And
actually feels bad to get carried, so I want to do that again.
Okay, so with the hero, you're planning on you're planning on playing with friends, or like making small parties, or doing more stuff solo?
Maybe solo, yes. And then if I hit the wall, then maybe find a party.
Okay. Yeah, because I would probably invest a little bit in the Adele, like both in time and in maybe in some symbol dailies. Because the main thing is, if you're pretty strong, you do just the first 2 area symbol dailies. I wouldn't even do like Lecheline maybe now because it's 8 symbol dailies, but with the tower and everything. But I wouldn't do too much. But even just Hungry Muto every day, that should be pretty fast, and it's 15 symbols a day.
I have never done that.
Okay.
Hungry Muto.
Because that's it's basically, it ends up being a lot of free stat, and it means that the character will get steadily stronger over time without needing to throw extra money into it, but it'll make the money that it makes faster, basically. Well, you put a little bit of money into it for leveling up the symbols, of course, which in the beginning seems very expensive, but the further you go, the more time in between the level ups, and comparatively, the character will make way more money than it costs at that point. And that'll probably help you, because if you could do CRA steadily and you get better at that, then you can probably move into doing Lotus and Damien with pretty much the same funding if the only upgrade you make is just leveling your symbols. And then that way you can double or triple like your weekly income with those crystals added. So and then that will give you more bossing experience for when you get there with the hero. You'll already know the mechanics and you'll know how the boss works by the time you get there with the hero, and it'll be easier to learn it with the hero.
Yeah.
So that's that way you can kind of trailblaze, kind of like see the path and then make the path a little bit easier forward by exploring with the Adele and then coming in with the hero to do the real thing.
Yeah, I think already that has happened in some cases, like the equipments and stuff and how to level.
Yeah, and like which equipments to get and which ones not to get, and which mistakes with blowing up not to make again. Sometimes that's the best way to learn, and I think it's fine to make mistakes as long as you learn from them, right? If you don't learn and you make them again, then it's not that good. But if you move forward and you know how you can optimize it the next time. So I guess I guess I asked before, but like more specifically, are there things like, are you going to go for the Wings of Fate again? Are you, you're not going to get carried out for the Abso pieces. That doesn't mean that you're going to have to upgrade the stuff before that, probably in a different way, right?
Yeah.
We do have a 5, 10, 15 coming up, not this Sunday, but the one after that, I believe. Do you think you'll have anything by then that you can upgrade? Like, did you go for the... oh, you're not going for Shield, right? You're going for this one. So what can you even upgrade by then?
Right now I have, like, 1 Leon gear. I don't know if that's good.
Okay. Yeah, well, the thing is that if you do Star Force upgrading, you can transfer Hammer that over, right?
Yeah.
You can transfer Hammer over into Pencilier and then into CRA when you get it. That's a pretty straight line. So that's always useful. And what level is the hero now?
I'm not sure. It's 169, I think.
Okay, nice. And I see you haven't put the hyper stats yet on the hero.
No. I have to do it.
You want to play the character hard mode?
Yeah, something like that. just disregarded them. I don't think it's that big of a damage early on.
Well, all the little bits help. That's the main. That's the main thing. You know, like getting the right Legion characters, putting them in the right spot, leveling your hyperstats, upgrading the equips a little bit, putting in the links. The thing is that no one thing is going to make or break your character. Maybe equipping a weapon, right? But all the little things helping together do make a difference. And if you have like 15 hyperstat points, yeah, you're probably gonna go. But if you have 90, that can actually be quite a lot.
Yeah, I think, well, right now on the hero I can like two-shot monsters. So. But if I put the points in, I don't think I will be one-shotting. So.
That's probably true. But if that's true, then you can put points in EXP so that when you do kill them, you get more experience, right?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, it'll become increasingly important as you go, for sure. So I guess, so you have Von Leon stuff. What else has changed, I guess, compared to this picture, equip-wise, for hero?
Let me see. I'll have to log on it again.
Oh yeah, sorry, did I make you log on the Adele?
Actually, I think that's pretty accurate. Shouldn't be nothing changed.
Just the necro gear for the Von Leon stuff? You have the full Von Leon set, or?
No, those in the picture.
And the, are you going for the Sweetwater weapon?
Yeah, I'm in commercial right now.
I see, yeah. Yeah, because that's a huge boost, right? That definitely will help you get the damage to get to CRA.
What about the Run Maru set? Is that good? Or not worth going for?
If you really like how it looks and you want to wear it, then you can do it. I think it's one of those things that they meant well, but I don't think they're positioned well in the game. Like, it takes a lot of effort to get, and especially because you need the whole full set, and to do that you basically need to get the weapon from Akechi. But if you can get the weapon from Akechi, then you would also already have full CRA at that point, and then you would have to break that set. It just doesn't make much sense with where it is. And then all the equips, except for the weapon, don't have flame advantage, but the weapon does. And then the CRA stuff all does have flame advantage, so it just, it's just a little bit unfortunately placed in the meta. But yeah, if you wanna wear it, you definitely can. The set bonuses are pretty nice, but you need to wear the whole thing for that. So, it's your own discretion.
Now I think I'll go Von Leon and then CRA.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Von Leon with the Sweetwater weapon, and then as many boss accessories as you can get. Right? Try to get the set bonus in there. Links and Legion in there. Some Star Force. Try to get all the stuff to 3% stat, maybe 6% if it goes epic. And then the weapon secondary and emblem, I would definitely try to get those to epic. And then that should get you to CRA. Yeah, as long as you get the 5th job down and you learn. You're working with the... when you're bossing, you have 2 big debuffs, right? You're using those?
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna... Well, yeah, you're mainly mobbing now, but
Puncture and Panic.
Yeah, Panic is really big. I forgot. I moved it to another key because I was training the hero a bit, and then I forgot to put it back when I was bossing. But it's like 25% final damage, so it's pretty massive. But that's also on hit final damage on top of everything you already have, versus the visual. So yeah, hero actual final damage now is pretty crazy. I imagine your final damage number. How much is it now if you're training? It's gotta be like over 300.
I think it's like 250 or something.
250, yeah. And that's without the decent combat orders and without the 5th job boost and everything, yeah, it's gonna be massive. Yeah, with that being said, your total damage percentage is really low now, right? So anything you do that gives you extra damage, extra boss damage, is going to impact your damage greatly. So specifically the hyperstats, I would say. That's where a lot of damage can be gotten early on. If you add that, you'll definitely see your damage go up quite a bit.
Alright.
Because yeah, you know about the diminishing returns there if you have bigger numbers and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now the numbers are really small, so now the relative value for every level is very high. So you can take advantage of that. And same thing with your critical damage, right? Critical damage at least here looks like it's 3%. So any critical damage you add, you know, of course, again, once you make sure your critical rate is high, and you can actually hit those crits, that critical damage is gonna make a huge difference in your damage output.
Yeah.
But I would say don't underestimate the hyper stats. They can definitely pull some weight.
Yeah, of course.
So I guess when it comes to the equips on the hero, are there any things that you did last time that you're not sure if you should do it the same way, or you might want to do it differently?
Not really. Because, well, I got a lot of carries, so you know, that's going to change. But other than that, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, okay, but so after like you get the CRA pieces and the boss accessory pieces, I guess, like what are you thinking of doing after that?
Probably getting Star Force, right? And then maybe if I have money, then potentials.
But that's a little vague, right? Like, what would you be aiming for?
Absolgia.
Okay.
Or yeah.
So how do you do you plan to do the same thing, kind of like what we talked about with the Adele, that you kind of keep the same funding after CRA and you just work on symbols and saving money?
Yeah, saving money and leveling up and
yeah,
getting symbols up.
Yeah, symbols is powerhouse. Honestly, it's really, because I didn't fund my Adele. I think my Adele was like 9k stat or something, or 8 or something, and then I think I went up to 20 when I was at 23k stat. 13k stat of that was from my symbols, and then 10k was from my equips.
Yeah, it's huge.
And then and that was Lotus and Damien killing pretty easily at that point.
Yeah.
That's very doable. That's like the very slow way of doing it, of course. Like, you're not actively really investing in the character, just dailies and nothing else. So if you're mainly playing the hero, you'll get there faster, hopefully, by increasing the equips and everything. But yeah, I would say the main thing is like looking for the events, right? When you're upgrading, 30% off events is really good to get everything to 15.
Yeah.
And then 5, 10, 15 is really good at getting things past 17.
And
if
you would safeguard from 10 to 15, right?
So that, I would say that depends on what equip it is, and how many backups you have. So if it's an item that I'm not currently equipping, and I'm trying to go for an upgrade, so let's say that I have I don't know, I have like 6 Kana treasure rings or something, and I'm currently using event rings, and I need the Kana treasure ring to at least get to like 17 or 18 before it even gets at the same level or better than the event ring. And it's during an event, and it's an upgrade that I don't really need. I might just do no safeguard and just try like a few and see if it works. If I blow a few up, then I might say like, okay, do I want to keep going, or do I just go serious next event, or do I safeguard because I really want this upgrade? If it comes to CRA, typically I never safeguard that, because by the time you get enough money to really push the CRA, you always have backups at that point. And then basically the fact that you have backups gives you value in the sense that you have a safety net if it does blow up, and that way you save money and you get value out of the pieces in your inventory, because otherwise it's just dead space there anyway.
Yeah.
And then kind of in a similar way, depending on how long I've been doing commercy and stuff, I might also just not safeguard Sweetwater stuff, but that depends on how many backups I have and how serious I am with the character. If I'm pretty serious with the character, typically I will safeguard, because later on you will always need backups, and it's kind of silly to blow up stuff before 15. And then not be able to push to 21 or something, because you have to start going back to commercy to do the dailies and the CPQ again. That's pretty annoying. So then I might just safeguard up to 17 and then just do more, and then come back later and then have a bunch of dineros backed up, basically. And when it comes to doing like into Abzo stuff, basically, at least a while ago, I would do fodder, right? I would do like the Remaru stuff and then just Star Force that up. And I would never do that with safeguard either, because that you can just get a lot of backups simple. get to high Star Force, and then transfer into the Abzo, and then always safeguard the Abzo, because I never want to have to do those weeklies again if I if I worked hard enough to get them one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it kind of depends, right, on the item and on the backups, I would say.
I wanted to ask, because I have like a list of gear progression that I used on Adele as well, but I don't know if you've seen the same or if it's even good. So.
Is it the one with the like how much is it expected to cost and everything?
No, it's like a gear progression. I don't know if it's made by you or someone else, but
I haven't made gear progression, but people have asked me before and then asked me for input.
That's something I used for the Adele. Yeah, mainly like seeing where to go from, like having Necromancer, when to get something new and stuff.
Yeah, so what I have is the I don't directly do gear guide, but I do have the dailies guide. Which has like this list on like what can you get from all the bosses basically, so like why would you want to do them? And then the level on like around these levels, I think this content is worth your time, and then usually that content will drop the gear and drop the equips that are kind of mentioned here so that you can follow that pretty naturally, basically.
Okay.
And then the level indication here on is it worth and can you do it, that level is then again reflective of the level here in the progression grid and like how strong you roughly want to be along that level. So as long as you can hit these benchmarks, then you can, instead of range, you can use your level as the big number, and then your level becomes the comparison, and then based on that you can see in this grid like which content is like the next stuff on the list and which can you do, and then which gear can you get from the bosses that you can kill basically. And of course it's not like an exact science, but like general approximation of what kind of content you can expect to do.
Yeah, because on Adele I like just leveled to like 210 and then I started doing stuff. So it felt kind of pointless to go like back to Commerce and killing 120 monsters and stuff. So
yeah, it can feel like that for sure. Yeah, if you're sometimes it's just like it's trivial and it's just like a just a mandatory thing. It's just a chore you have to do to get to the next one. I guess they call it suffering from success, right, for Adele.
Yeah.
So strong that you...
On Hero I tried to like go a little bit like do Commerce while I'm leveling. It doesn't feel so bad.
A little bit more paced.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's typically what I use, but I don't know, I don't see anything crazy here or anything. But usually I don't like to write out things this like this detailed, because it's a lot of work, because it changes a lot, so it's hard to keep up to date as well typically.
Yeah, and that is like 2 years old, so I wasn't sure if it's even up to date anymore. So.
Some of the early stuff stayed pretty good. Yeah, like they mentioned the Glory event here. Yeah, Glimmering Wonder Heart if it returns. Some stuff does return. Some things does make sense. Some I would skip, but I think a lot of it can depend on. Evo Lab secondaries. Yeah, typically now we go for Princess no secondaries. But I guess they mentioned those later. So some of the stuff also can still be applicable, but you can probably sometimes skip the first two completely and go for the third one immediately because of how close everything is together now, right? And how quick leveling is.
Yeah.
But definitely, if this is from 2 years ago, then probably Gollux is going to be...
Oh yeah, they changed that.
Yeah, a lot later than what it says here. Yeah. But the general gist seems, if this 2 year old, I guess it stood the time pretty well. Realistic best in slot Arcane. That's realistic now for sure. Like between like 2 years ago and here. So I don't know how detailed this is exactly, I guess, with like scrolling through it. But it is definitely way more realistic to get into Arcane stuff than it was 2 years ago. Way more. Like 2 years ago, I would have said, you know, just get the Abzo stuff and then Star Fodder things on the side, 21 star into 20 Abzo, and then try to pop the 20 to 21 on the Abzo later. And then just stay at 21 Abzo forever, and if you can get an Arcane weapon, that's cool, and then you can switch into that and get the Abzo hat, but otherwise just stay full 20 or 21 Abzo, and then do all the content like that. Now, I wouldn't advise that anymore. I think just saying 17 Arcane is fine. Saying 17 Abzos is fine. Getting like 2 lines Legendary. And then pushing more on CRA, of course, right? Because you'll have way more backups, and then pushing on the accessories a bit more. And then going into Hard Lucid and Hard Will like that, and then starting to earn the droplets. And by then you'll be able to buy the droplets from the shop, and then just get your Arcane weapons slowly and surely go into the full Arcane set.
Did they change something with the Arcane set? Or?
Yeah, they changed like 10 things, and like with your account is like 10... Well, not little things necessarily, but like 10 things that weren't by themselves crazy, but all of them together made everything more accessible.
Yeah.
So like they basically doubled the drop rate for droplets, so that one was probably the biggest individual thing. And then they added droplets to more regions, so that was very helpful. Now we have the droplet exchange, so you can trade between the 2 types of droplets if you want, so you're not limited anymore to what area you have to train in. You can just go whatever area that drops them and then exchange them later. And then they made the armors cheaper, so they don't cost as many coins anymore. And then they made the amount of droplets you need to exchange to 1 coin. They made that cheaper by 1, so that ends up making it quite a difference over the whole set as well. Then they made more bosses drop Arcane items, so they added it to the Tenebra's bosses and to the Black Mage. And then they made all the drop rate for all the bosses higher as well.
Yeah.
And in upcoming change, they're changing the drop to a box as well, and then you can select from the box which of the drops that you want that boss could drop. So that gives you better flexibility on getting backups or completing your set as well. So all of those things combined.
Is it possible to go like Lucid and Will solo as well, or is it like out of the picture?
Possible, yes. If it's reasonable, that's totally gonna depend on how sweaty of a gamer you are. Lucid, I would say probably doable. Yeah, depending on how eager you are to really stay solo. Will also, but you have to be way higher level, right, and have way more arcane power to be able to do Will properly, because Will itself is level 250. And for the arcane power bonus, you need 1140, so that's quite a ways away. But they did change for Will now that if you're soloing, mainly the problem was with the test in phase 1, where you had 2 different dimensions and you had to hit in one dimension to get a protective ball to drop in the other one to loot it, so you could survive the test. Otherwise, you would die. And it's already pretty hard to make sure you don't miss the first test and die to the first one. I guess as hero, you do have possibilities. You can like try your iframe around it if you have the right timing. And you can also try your Blitz Shield, you know, because it'll make it sure that you don't get one-tapped by the screen crack. But then if you use your iframe, then it won't be up by the end of the test, at least. Or it might be 20 seconds, actually, I'm not sure. Or 18, right? Because for a hero, it's very good to go for cooldown reduction on the hat, if you can do that. So you can use World Reaver more. That'll increase your survivability and the full map clear when you're mobbing, so that's pretty nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so they changed that the ball drops in the same dimension now if you're soloing, so you should be able to shield yourself way more easily.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll go that far. So.
I think it's doable, but you know, we have the final damage change now as well. So the power creep definitely changed a bit. And I do have to look at that as well, because for progression now, I did change the numbers when it came to the percentage damage, right? Because of the reboot change, that number is going down. But the other question, of course, is, well, with the extra final damage that everyone got, does that mean that the requirements of being able to do the content actually all went down as well? Which it probably did, but then the question is by like how much, right? Like the balance of where you spend your money still stays the same, but how strong you need to be for your level to be able to clear the content, that probably went down. So that's just a constantly in flux thing.
Yeah, and then if you over level, then you can like solo.
If you're what?
Maybe. Right.
Sorry, what did you say?
That if you over level like by a large amount, then you can maybe solo that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The interval is still pretty wide though, right? For the final damage, you have to go. The main thing is from 200 to 250 is where most people are going to be for quite a while, and that's where you have the. What is it? Is it 60% final damage?
Yeah, I have no clue.
Yeah, I think 60, and then 250. I think it's 250 to 299. You get 65, and then at 300 you get 70. It's like, okay. So yeah, most people are still going to be in the same chunk of final damage increase. So it's a pretty universal blob of increase. So that might still make the whole stages pretty similar. But yeah, I think when people are recruiting for certain bosses, the stat requirements will go down, and I think it'll make soloing more accessible, more. I don't know if I would say reasonable, because that gives a little bit of a value weight to it, but like more manageable.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we kind of touched the surface on some things, went into depth on a few things a little bit more, but I guess I'm just gonna check with you because we have about 15 minutes left. Do you feel like this was very helpful, or is there still something where you're really wondering about? Because it's your show, so you gotta let me know if there's anything I can still help you with specifically to help you out.
I think it was kind of informative, yes.
Okay.
I don't think I have like anything specific right now, at least.
Okay. So, do you feel, if you look at your hero, do you feel confident that you know how to move forward?
Oh, yeah. I try to get the 1 Leon gear, good flames, and Star Force up when the event comes, and a lot of leveling and symbols and stuff. Yeah,
the nodes is definitely going to be important in the beginning, boost nodes. Yeah. The one thing I did...
And the event shop has them, right?
Yep. Yeah. And the one thing I did want to mention for hero is that your boost nodes are important, but another thing that's really important is your Burning Soul Blade. It's one of your 5th job skills that it empowers your attacks, right? So you get the same effect as if you were enraged, but instead you still hit multiple targets.
Oh, okay.
And excuse me. There we go. When you're mobbing, basically what you want to always have one of the empowered versions on. So you want to do Burning Soul Blade, and then switch to Cry Valhalla, your hyper skill. And then by that time, Burning Soul Blade should be back. And then but then after the Burning Soul Blade, you'll have nothing for a bit. And then typically people use Instinctual Combo kind of as like an empowered main skill, or use a bit more Puncture, a little bit more Rising Rage, a little bit more Shout, something like that to cover the map more. Yeah. But the problem is at low level Burning Soul Blade, the duration is pretty short. And that makes it so that there's a lot more area to cover. There's like time in between the Cry Valhalla and the Burning Soul Blade. And then the Instinctual Combo cannot bridge the time in between the Burning Soul Blades at all. And then your mobbing will suffer more there. So leveling up the Burning Soul Blade a little bit earlier than you would be used to compared to most other skill nodes is going to be a bit more important there, so that you can... so you can have like a seamless progression from the one skill into the others to keep the leveling at a constant speed and your map rotations at a constant pace.
What about the inner ability?
Yeah.
You said that I want the same as Adele. But,
well, crit-wise, yeah. The main thing, so for hero, if you're going for the two-handed axe, then you want to have attack speed on the top one. Do you generally, when you're training and stuff, do you generally use green pots?
Yeah, whenever I use coupons, I use them as well.
Yeah, to combine with coupons, yeah, that makes sense. So if you're using green pots and you want to hit the max attack speed with speed infusion, you still want to have attack speed +1 if you're using two-handed weapon. But yeah, something like going for crit rate early on is just going to be completely impossible. Like, you know, it's just not realistic. It's way too expensive, way too low chance. How do you approach the inner ability usually? Like, what did you do for the Adele?
I don't remember actually.
You just clicked and you get unique.
I hope for the best.
Yeah. Honestly, if you get 15% meso-obtain on unique, that's pretty good. But I think probably hitting the attack speed +1 for the hero is probably going to be a good idea. And then kind of just, you know, whatever you get on the second and third is fine. And then just sit on that for a while until you just are sure that you want to commit to the character and you're sure you want to go hard. But just build up honor experience until then. So usually what I do is I roll with honor experience until unique, and then I use circulators to get to legendary. And then, you know, depending on how serious you want to be with the character, either you keep using circulators to get the line that you want, so you can save your honor experience, because it's like more difficult to just get a lot of honor experience than to get a lot of meso, right? Because you can just farm for meso, but farming for honor experience is very difficult. What you'll yeah, and then you just roll it with circs, and then once you have attack speed, you hold on to it until you have quite a lot, or until there's an event and you make sure you want to commit. But even then, I think you'll keep attack speed and whatever on second and third line for quite a while. That's what my hero still has as well, and that one has been doing a hard lucid for a while. So. And the second and third line are like, I don't know, like 5% damage to debuff monsters and 5% damage to normal monsters or something. So it's like...
Is it okay if they are rare? Or
yeah, if they're rare, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, if you want to commit to the character, then the whole process is like use circulators to get 20% crit on unique line on second or third. And then if you have that, you lock it in. And then you re-roll the top line to get the attack speed back, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, just for reference, I did that on my Cannoneer recently, and that cost me. The circulator was very cheap. I got very lucky. I think I spent like 700 mil on circulators, with the expected cost being like, I don't know, like 12 bill or something. Well, I've spent more in the past, so like it evens out. Trust me. But but then to lock that one line during a 50% off, and to get the attack speed back, cost me almost 3 mil honor experience. So that's like how bad it can be and how long it can take. So it's a good idea to just save honor experience for the long term, and then commit if you're sure that you want to main your character for long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise no equips, Princess No stuff. But yeah, I think the dailies command, and the progression grid I think are good. General guidelines on like what content is like the next on the list to do. The UI, like the Maple guide is pretty decent now as well, right? Showing like which bosses are next.
Yeah, I've been using that to like determine if I can kill a boss or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's decent. Like the ranking system is a little bit really arbitrary. It's like 7-star. And then it goes to bronze or something, and then up to 10 stars, and then goes to silver, and then gold stars start at 5.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I usually just look at the like previous pass that I did.
Yeah, just go for the next one. Yeah, that's the cleanest. I guess the sad thing is that Gollux is just seen as one boss. When it's obviously 4 very different difficulty level bosses.
Is it worth to do Gollux if you can't do the like hard or hell modes?
Honestly, if you can't do hard or hell, it's probably fine to just focus on leveling instead, because you can only get the little you can only get the little dude, I switched my buttons around. /G Congrats. There we go. I'm learning. Sorry, what was I saying? I got distracted. You can only switch what around? Sorry, what was I talking about? I totally lost track of thought.
Helux and Harklocks. If it's worth to do that you said, but
yeah,
worth.
Yeah, because you wanna go fully into Superior. That's the goal, and you can only get the pennies from the early 2 bosses, and then the coins from Hard and Hell. So I think Hard is okay, so you get familiar with the boss. But even for Hard as well, if you need to like join a party and do it together with other people, with people who can do Hard but can't do Hell, that's also fine because the coins are instanced, and you'll have a small chance for the equips even. But the main thing is more coins per day. But it just sucks that you only have 1 entry and you don't have a practice mode, so it's pretty high gamble, pretty high risk. But of course, yeah, the gear is amazing, so that's gonna be for most people. And if you're soloing, that's probably gonna be one of the big bottlenecks between moving, like from being at the level where you can definitely party, or actually like you could probably solo Lotus and Damien without. But if you want to go from there to being able to do Lucid, that's probably the big bottleneck there.
Yeah.
That's gonna stop you. Or
it takes a lot of time to get them as well. Right?
Yeah, there's RNG needed, but also just enough runs to be able to afford the other 2 pieces that don't drop. So yeah. Okay. Anything else you can think of? Hero-wise? No. Any hero-specific questions?
No, I don't think so. Not right now, at least.
Someone asked for the hero recently. I don't know if you know that. The I think. Well, you have armor crash on a button, right? Do you use it?
What crash?
Armor crash. I think you have it on V. Right?
Oh yeah, purple? Magic crash. Yeah.
Magic crash. Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something crash.
I'm not sure what it does exactly.
So basically, when you use it before a boss uses a special skill, it basically blocks the effect of the skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because I tried it after I think Hila used the reflect and it didn't work. So.
Yeah, it didn't work. Yeah, you have to somehow just telepathically know that they're gonna do it. But for some bosses, it's pretty well known, right? If you're doing Chaos Crimson Queen, for example, and you know what the reflect one looks like, right? When she has her eyes closed. Yeah. If you use that right before, then she just doesn't get her shield at all. You can just keep attacking. So that's kind of nice. And it's also for Czak. If you're right before you kill all of the arms, and then you use it, and then he doesn't do his invisible weapon defense thing. Because if you do Czak, he sometimes if you kill the arms, he goes to taking only 1 damage. That's essentially a weapon defense that he has, but it doesn't have a symbol. So you just kind of have to sit there and just wait until it's gone. But with Magic Crash, you can also avoid that from happening, and then you can just keep attacking him.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there might be other situations that people use it, but personally, I don't use it that much either. So, well, at this point, I don't have to anymore. For those bosses, I just blow them up. But hopefully, you can get to that stage pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, if you enjoy the character, then whether it's soon or late, I mean, you're gonna enjoy building up there. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, now there is an event, so I guess it's a little bit faster.
Yeah, hopefully. And yeah, but that's kind of that's kind of calculated into the progression, right? I mean, if you're playing for a long period, there's always going to be some events that are speeding things up.
Yeah.
Because this game is just event after event after event, it just keeps going, right? There's only 1 or 2 weeks per year where it's okay, catch your breath, and then it's go again.
Yeah.
Never dull moment.
Because I play a lot of other games as well. I usually miss out on half of the events.
Yeah, you can kind of pick okay, this event in this game is more fun. I'm gonna play that one for a while, and then be this event is really cool. I'll switch around here.
Yeah. Or at least I in Maple I do the dailies and cap coins and play some other games.
Yeah, then at the end of the event, you have all those. You can do big spender day, buy all the stuff from the stores. Yeah, they do that a bit more now. In the past, they used to have the sales, right? Sometimes on Sundays, and then you could buy way more on those days. It's probably good that they got rid of that though, so because otherwise people felt very forced that they had to level on a certain or that they play on a certain day and spend then, and if they couldn't play that one day, they felt really bad. So it's probably more fair this way.
Should I also like set a level goal for the event, like, to get the symbols out of the store for hero?
When it comes to symbols, the earliest symbol that's probably worth to buy, I would say, is Lachaline, because Vanishing Journey and Choo Choo level so fast. So, you know, if you want to go for that, then I would put at least like 220 on it. But the event is really long, right? Like the end of the event, I think, is February 8th or something. So that is quite some time.
Yeah, so I can get like 250 then, right?
if you're like playing the whole way, yeah, for sure, you can get all then. And if you get that far, then you probably want to prioritize the Sphera and the Morass symbols over the Lachaline, because those are even slower.
Yeah.
But by that time, we'll have version 229 as well, so we should have the extra 2 dailies in Morass and Sphera, so that should help as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one major goal that people put is 235, so you can have access to all of the dailies, and then they kind of like slow down the leveling and do all the dailies every day, and then focus a bit more on Legion. You know, not to burn out hardcore on training, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Hero was pretty fast up to like 240. Well, that's mainly because my Legion and my Lynx made my new character very strong. So I was able to get to 240 pretty fast, and then past 240 it definitely slowed down quite a bit. But yeah, it all depends on who you're comparing to, and if you're having fun or not. So okay, any last thing that comes to mind? Any last thing you wanna say?
No, not really, nothing.
Okay, well, best of luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks.
I hope you enjoy the event, and I hope you enjoy the hero. And well, let us know if you're solo progressing. Let us know if you killed a new boss, if you made a new milestone.
Yeah, I make sure.
Always good to hear. And well, best of luck, and I'll see you around.
Yeah, see ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right. All right. So yeah, he's pivoting away from the Adele onto the hero. Enjoys that character way more. And yeah, even if the class isn't like the best at something, if you enjoy the playstyle more, it all comes down to wanting to play, like having the drive to want to log in and go kill monsters and go do stuff. If you don't have that anymore, even if the class is stronger, is like better, what people would say, if you don't have that chemistry with the class, you don't have that chemistry with your character, it's not, you're just not going to be able to put the time in. So it's good to take a step back sometimes, look at another character, enjoying the hero more until he pops his first hero totem, says the hero main. But yeah, hopefully he likes the hero more, hopefully he likes the mobbing more. I definitely enjoy some aspects of hero more than Adele, but I can't deny, the Adele superiority is just an amazing class. Like, I thought it was a little bit boring in the beginning too, have to be perfectly honest, because it was just too easy. You just jump attack, jump attack, jump attack, jump attack, everything's dead. Yeah, it almost, the suffering from success, I definitely felt that in the beginning. But in my opinion, it just helps you get to the point faster where it gets interesting, where it gets fun, where it gets more challenging. Which to me, since I've played that early game on so many characters now, to me that's also a welcome change of pace, that some classes do get there a little bit faster. And then you do, because, the game is challenging for every character, just at different stages, right? So you level up faster, you grow faster. That means you get to the challenging stages faster, and then you still face with these challenges. So just, again, I guess this major takeaway from this is, try to keep having fun and try to keep exploring your options, because there's a lot of classes out there, and there could be one out there for you that's just the perfect match that you're trying to find. So, or that is trying to find you. No, they don't come looking for you. That's not true. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. It felt a little bit all over the place for me, but as long as he's helped in the end of the day, that's the most important part. When you do request these sessions, whether you win one for free, remember to leave a comment if you want to win one for free, or whether you request one through a direct donation, or you do one for the channel points if you're subscribed in the Twitch chat. whatever you want to do, it's up to you. You know, you want to review a boss fight, you want to talk about what class to main, you just want to have a chat about Maple. Like, you can do whatever you want. It's your my time is at your disposal at that point, and it's up to you what you want to what you want to get out of it, you know. And I'm here to help. So yeah, if that was helpful for you guys, if that was fun, I'm glad. That's the goal. Your totem is not over yet, so enjoy the last 20 minutes. The game is finally more stable, so not crashing every 30 minutes anymore or less. So that's great. But yeah, good luck with all of your progress in the game. Thanks for watching. And if you have resources for me, make sure you send them to me. And other than that, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.